As the weather gets colder, let the podcast get warmer. Fall in with the Backbone Wrestling feed. Every Monday we have the cross up. Every Tuesday we have Ruthlessly Aggressive and New General Admission. Every other Thursday, linking up Lucha and Highway to the Impact Zone. Every other Friday, Russo Pod. We have Territorial that drops whenever. Hidden Gem that drops whenever. And we have two new podcasts. The Movie Education of Logan Crossland, which is a great one. He'll finally watch movies. And Hands of Z. And how could I forget the Shit Take?
So you gotta show a little backbone.
Everyone has to agree that it is absolutely entertaining. And with that thought in mind, let us go to the square circle. This is wrestling.
The following program is brought to you in living color on Sports Fun.
Let me entertain you. Let me make you smile. I'm beginning to like doing this. I like doing that. I hope you do, because I'm going to do it again.
Pandemonium gonna break loose, gonna be like Boathouse Pie, like painting a titmouse's hind legs with a Fabosca's brush on a Saturday night. You got it, Jack?
If you wanna make it, twinkle while you shake it. If you wanna grind it, wait till you've refined it. So get yourself a gimmick and you
Killer Khan, I'm going to chase you all over the world.
And if you're real good, I'll make you feel good. I want your spirit to climb. Let me entertain you, and we'll have a real good time. Yes, sir. We'll have a real good time.
A little entertainment is what it's called. I'm George Michael, and that's Tuesday in Sports.
Something, George Michaels. It sure is nice to know that after all these years, brother, we've been hanging and banging together. You're still the #1 Hulkamaniac. When the largest patriots in the world plug Sergeant Slaughter right between the eyes and take the WWF title back. What you gonna do when the Hulkster, my little Hulkamaniacs, George Michaels, and the Sports Machine runs wild on you?
Good evening, everybody. I'm George Michael, and welcome to the Sports Machine.
Backbone Wrestling Network, welcome to episode number 40 of Territorial. I am your host, Shawn, as always, and welcome to a particularly special episode for me tonight because it's more localized around where I grew up and where I'm from. And for those of you that know me and in group chats, I always talk about how I don't really watch a lot of modern day sports. One, because of time. Two, just a lot of investment, family, work, etc. So I don't watch a lot of current sports. Now I do typically watch sports When it gets to like playoff time for the NFL, I'll watch it. But there was a time when I was really big into sports, especially growing up, and a huge part of that was a sportscaster here from DC, and his name was George Michael. And George Michael, I'm sure many people that listen to this or who are into sports or have been around a long time like myself have heard of George Michael. George Michael, a lot like Warner Wolf up in New York, is almost like a local legacy, but it expands beyond that. And the reason why I want to talk about George Michael tonight is because George Michael was a big part of me discovering pro wrestling, and I'll get into that in a second. But first off, I want to talk a little bit about who he was, give a little bit of a time frame, et cetera, et cetera. So in 1980, George Michael was a former disc jockey turned into a sportscaster, and he joined WRC TV in Washington, D.C., which is one of my local NBC affiliates here in DC, and it's the station's primary sports anchor, and almost immediately stands out, not just for his highlights, but for his personality, his creativity. Like when he would deliver sports, it was with a high level of enthusiasm. It was so quick and so like just pinpointed, and he would just go, and it was like, it's very hard to explain. He like brought an energy to his game when it came to delivering sports results, like especially in the mid 80s. Like I was really super into the Chicago Bears in their season when they won a Super Bowl, and Michael's always was really, really good about just bringing all that stuff to the forefront. And like he could cover 20 different sports in his short little sports segment on a 6 p.m. or 5 o'clock time frame that he had on the local sports. But anyway, early 1980s, he launches George Michael's Sports Final, which was a Sunday night sports wrap-up, airing after the late newscast. The show leaned heavily on highlights, avoid like hot take commentary, but it introduced regular segments like Tuesday replays and Wednesday wrestling. So this is why I wanted to bring him up. He would literally bring Wednesday Up Wrestling up on his show. But not only that, it was really about the Capitol Center and like local Capitol Center wrestling. And I was watching wrestling highlights before I even watched it regularly. But he would cover things from Philly. He would cover things from the Capitol Center. He would cover things from Madison Square Garden. So he was just really known locally for his love of sports, but also bringing wrestling to the forefront, similar to how Warner Wolf did, I believe, in New York as well. But, we just talked about his sports final. 1984, he actually retitled it the George Michael Sports Machine, which was very, very well known. And it aired on NBC-owned and operated stations and affiliates nationwide. And it marks like the first time a locally produced sports show was carried by a major network. So pretty cool. And Sports Machine really became like appointment viewing on Sunday nights, including for me, filling the gap before sports cable exploded. I mean, ESPN was in and everything, but it hadn't really like taken off. And the show had its own identity, like pure highlight focus, no commentary, occasional deep dives on athletes, coverage of overlooked sports like NASCAR, hockey, pro wrestling, rodeo, equestrian events, and even high school sports. The guy covered it all. And the iconic Sports Machine set, which was complete with buttons, monitors, and reel-to-reel visuals. You kind of heard that at the beginning. It was a really freaking fancy like pop when it started. So his access became legendary. His style he had rare interviews with people and otherwise aloof figures. And WRC TV was reportedly the only local sports team allowed to broadcast from inside Redskins home games during the season. And he also hosted the Redskins Report with Sonny Jurgensen here locally as well. So I can't go into how much this man meant a lot locally, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of his other stuff that he did, but here's what I want to do for you. So for me, not only did he do I'm going to play a bunch of wrestling recaps for you that he did, and one of the things he always did with his recaps, he had a co-anchor, Jim Vance, and their relationship and their back and forth and their chemistry together was probably one of the greatest things you'll ever see in local news or news in general. Like it was real. Like if you think about news today, the news today is really commentary-ish. These guys would report. They would go at it. They would give each other shit. And they had a really, really good crew. And Jim Vance, one of the things was all about wrestling is I don't know how you like it. I don't know why you're so excited about it. Vance really stood by that it was fake. And it was amazing how like Michael would just goad him, and the chemistry, they would laugh at it, to the point where he actually got Jim Vance to go to a couple of live shows with him. But I'm going to play a couple of these recaps for you so you can kind of get a sense for who George Michael was, some of that commentary and some of the excitement he brought to wrestling. So listen to some of these recaps, and then I'm going to pull out a couple of specific ones that he did that were more centralized to certain people. So give this one a listen.
And now the exciting and dramatic conclusion to the Hulk Hogan-Paul Orndorff steel cage match. Let's go to the Cap Center. Once you're inside the ring, anything goes. There are no referees. So Hulk with the gate crasher on Orndorff. Orndorff goes down once. Hulk says, you know what? We ought to do it again from the other side. The brain scrambler. Orndorff down again. But you know Paul Orndorff is very tough. He is almost over the top. Remember, whoever gets out of the cage first is the winner. However, Hulk comes back, pulls him down. Well, Orndorff obviously was in this for more than he thought. Orndorff was so weak, he could only do half a suplex on Hulk. He tried to go for the full suplex. Orndorff almost gets out, but will Hulk Hogan let him out? No, sir. He uses the rubber band snap. 1, 2, and up goes Orndorff. Orndorff is in. Meanwhile, Hulk Hogan very quickly heads out of the... Remember, who's ever out first is the winner. Hulk with a kick out. He climbs out. Hogan remains the heavyweight champ. How does Orndorff react? Well, he does not show you good sportsmanship. For outside the ring, he picks up the steel chair and does in the Hulk. I would think that there's going to be a rematch between these two great warriors. Sam Bowie's bad luck with injuries has followed him to the NBA. Bowie today cracked a rib in a Trailblazers practice. He will be out at least 10 days to 2 weeks for all the sports, 24 hours a day. Now, the Sports Machine at 362-4444. I'm George Michael. That's Wednesday in Sports.
Don't you want the guy in the red hat to call you up and tell you what you did with the
I just
football?
wanted to, send Art a nice little thank you note. Nice souvenir he got.
Yeah.
Paul Orndorff hitting him with a chair. That's a surprising thing.
Warriors.
Owens in wrestling. Let us go to Madison Square Garden. Afa and Sika going against the tag team champions of the world. That's Afa. What a good-looking dude. The tag team champions, I don't know how it is. Adrian Adonis and Dick Murdoch. You take one look, you know they're bad. Afa goes right after Murdoch, doing in double Samoan duty. I mean, they are working on him. Now they get Adonis with a slingshot. Up and up goes the champ. Well, he's a bad champion anyway, Adonis. He's a bad guy. Murdoch with the thunderbolt to Sika's head, but the Coco butt. You give him that Samoan Coco butt, it'll do him every time. Now the Samoans with the double man off of the ropes, the double clothesline, Adrian Adonis getting turned inside out. Afa with a come together, Murdoch and Adonis in all kinds of trouble. The double slingshot, both men down in the center of the ring, but miraculously Adonis comes back. Murdoch, the two-man double elbow, here it comes. Double thunderbolt. You know no one gets up from that, and this is the best out of 3 falls. Although Adonis won the first fall, you know you still have the second and third to go. Who will win for this championship bout? Tune in tomorrow at 6. I will have the answer. I'm George Michael, and that's Tuesday in
You're going to
Sports.
tell us tomorrow, right?
Go for it, baby.
We can't wait to show you.
Coming up next.
American League, Milwaukee over Toronto 5-1, and the White Sox down the Mariners 9-7. Now for a wild and unbelievable finish to the tag team championship match between the defending champs Dick Murdoch and Adrian Adonis and their opponents, the Samoans. Let us go to Madison Square Garden, the end of the first fall. Murdoch and Adonis with a slingshot of Alpha and then a double thunderbolt. Well, all that was left was for Adonis to fall on him and pin. Thus, Murdoch and Adonis win the first fall. This is the best 2 out of 3. Now, in the second fall, Sika with a Coco butt on Murdoch. Then the double Samoan butt. Obviously, Murdoch was in no state to continue. Afa with the Samoan slam. Put him down. Pin your man. Murdoch down and out, so that evened it at 1 fall apiece. Now to the third and deciding fall for the tag team championship. Samoans with a double slingshot and karate chops on Adrian Adonis. Afa with a reverse slam. Now this, of course, could be the conclusion. However, Murdoch illegally climbs the top rope. He comes down with a tremendous shot. Obviously, the referee doesn't know what to do. Double disqualification as Samoans hit him a hit. Out they are. Therefore, because you cannot lose unless you are pinned, that means Murdoch and Adonis remain the tag team champions. The Samoans will have to wait till another day. I'm George Michael, and that's Wednesday in Sports. I was shocked to learn that Mr. Fuji and Mr. Saito had agreed to defend their tag team championship against Rick Martel and Tony Gurriel with Pat Patterson as the guest referee. This decision would come back to haunt them. Let's go to Madison Square Garden and show you exactly what happened. When last we left you, you may recall Rick Martel had the reverse crab pin on Fuji. However, Saito enters the ring to the rescue. He breaks up that near press. Gurria throws Saito off the ropes. Martel greets him with a drop kick. Fuji with the kamikaze head dive. Oh, that's smart. Martel throws Saito into the turnbuckle. Now watch carefully. He nails him with the flying drop kick. What a move. Now Martel will finish him off. He throws Saito off the ropes, gets him into the sleeper hold. It's an automatic submission hold, but Patterson and Fuji get into it. Now Saito's about to give. Watch carefully. Patterson, the referee. Saito waves his arm. Yes, I want to give. I want to give. But Fuji throws salt in Patterson's eyes. Fuji and Saito are disqualified. They retain the belt as the tag team champions of the world, those doers of dastardly deeds. I'm George Michael, and that's Friday in Sports. Hope your Super Bowl party's a good one. And now, friends, to the serious side of life. Time to take you to the square circle. What? For Johnny, the always unpredictable Rods, going against Adrian Adonis. Let us go to the Cap Center. Adrian Adonis, as you know, is a man who does not waste time. He is on the right of your screen wearing the black jacket. Johnny Rod's going through his stretching muscles, clearly caught off guard. Doesn't even wait for the bell. This is dastardly doing. Adonis with the cauliflower chop. That'll do something to your ears. Adonis now with the soprano drop, and obviously Rods is in serious trouble. But Rods with a ring toss turns Adonis's world completely upside down. Now Rods will come flying with a tremendous body block, and down goes Adonis. He will now try for another body block, but Adonis with a roll. Here comes a flying press from Rods, but watch his chin. Oh, onto the rope, obviously in excruciating pain. 1, 2, 3, and Adonis continues to be the main man. Once again, on Saturday night with my friend Jim Vance, watching some spectacular activities. Let's go to the Cap Center. It was Wrestling Saturday night. Yes, friends. First of all, in the ring with me, Marty Levine on the right. Bob Ryan, who came dancing in. The biggest ovation of the night was for Jim Vance.
Oh, you should have heard the dude.
Yes, he came in. My man Jim Vance came into a big round of applause. Then to the bouts. Yes, let's go to the bouts. Magnificent Morocco and Tony Atlas. Magnificent Morocco in blue with a miss on the elbow jammer. Tony Atlas with a flying head scissors. Yes, Tony Atlas, the flying head scissors. Now Morocco with a press. Here it is. 1, 2, whoops! Tony Atlas throws him out of the ring. What a kick out. Morocco would come back, though, with the body slam. A tremendous shot. But Atlas would come back now with a series of scissor slaps. Tony Atlas doing it to Morocco. It's, oh, is this it? Watch Tony Atlas. He may finish him right here. Oh, would that be the end of Morocco? Tune in tonight at 11 and we'll have the answer. I'm George Michael, and that's Monday in Sports.
All right, George, you got him on the edge of the seats, man.
You love it.
It was fun.
Now we got to go quickly to the square circle at the Cap Center for the finish of the championship, the tag team match. Here we go. It's Rick Martel, right? Remember, he was in the clutches of submission, the bear hold by Rex, but he gets out. Now Rex, he lifts him up for a body slam. Martel says, no, down they go for a suplex, a suplex. Martel, it's a suplex. Martel obviously in great pain. The tag with Gurria. In comes the fresh Tony Gurria, doing a number on Rex. Get him, Tony. Here comes the arm toss. Over he goes. Now, you know what could happen? He could flying drop kick. Have you seen a greater flying drop kick? Yes, one more time. Down goes Rex. Oh, but there could be danger ahead. They're going to pin Gurria. Look at the ref. Where is he? 1, 2. Oh, a last-minute save by Martel. He saved him. Now he's got to chase Spot around the ring. There he goes. Here comes Spot. Here comes King. It's in the script. Yes, here comes Spot. Watch for the collision. Down they go. Count them out. 1, 2, 3. The good guys win again. That's it, folks. I'm George Michael, and that's Friday in Sports. Jim Vance loved it.
You know what? The wrestling is terrible, but you're great.
Hopping out of his seat.
Yeah, you should have seen he's all on top of the desk. He's crazy as they are. Up next, we're going to show you a little.
Last night, we, of course, showed you the conclusion of the Pat Patterson-Cowboy Orton fight. Many people said, hey, we were asleep. You got to do it again. Here it is. Cowboy Bob Orton, Pat Patterson. It's worth it. You remember? Sure, Pat Patterson trying for the... comes Orton off the ropes. Patterson tries for the reverse crab pin. But Cowboy with a big kick out. Patterson now with his world-famous camel backdrop. This is a very difficult to perform maneuver. This will do you in, but good. Now, Orton off the ropes with a chin chipper. Watch this one. Boom! Boom! Patterson down in excruciating pain. Orton will come with a tremendous flying drop kick. Patterson out of the ring. Pat Patterson, the crowd favorite, obviously in big trouble, especially when it came time for the life ender. Say goodnight and goodbye to Pat Patterson. Never got back in the ring. Cowboy Bob Orton. Oh, the doer of dastardly deeds was the winner. I'm George Michael, and that's Friday in Sports. Sorry, Pat.
So there you go. You got 10 minutes of highlights of George Michael doing his wrestling shtick, and you heard the people in the background laughing. You heard him with Jim Vance. Just amazing chemistry on this show. But, you know, he really had, like, specific things, too. Like, before I get into, like, a little bit of some of the other, like, specific ones, because specific recaps here, just to kind of tell you more about his career. So in the late 1980s, 1990s, he became a major media influence on NASCAR well before the sport's mainstream boom. Interviewed drivers like Dale Earnhardt years ahead of its curve. He also covered professional bull riding, most notably the career of one Lane Frost, including Frost's legendary matchups against the bull Red Rock in the Challenge of the Champions. Frost's death in 1989 only deepened Michael's connection to the rodeo world. And during this era, the sports machine expanded into national syndication, eventually airing on 84 NBC affiliates. And we'll talk more about how this also culturally expanded even into film. But what I want to do for you now is I'm going to play for you a couple specific clips of some recaps he had. First and foremost, what I'm going to do is bring up Bob Backlund. Now, Bob Backlund and him had an opportunity. He had an issue. I guess George was a guest ring announcer. And then I guess George had made a comment about Bob Backlund's title reign as champion and how he wasn't too happy with him as a champion. And Bob Backlund confronts him after a match with George Animal Steel at the Capitol Center, and Bob gets really, really animated with him. And then at the end, there's actually a promo with Bob apologizing to George for the way he acted. First off, I believe we have a recap of Bob Backlund against Valentine, and I'll play you this whole segment with him and Steele, but wanted to play this one for you and kind of show you his interaction with the wrestlers, and he was guest ring announcer for a few items, but this one really, really cracked me up.
Sure, let's go to the Cap Center. Who won? Well, I'm going to show you. It looked like Greg Valentine was going to win right here, as he looks like he will destroy Bob Backlund's leg. However, Backlund recovers enough to get back in the ring. Valentine now goes with a rowboat leg extender. Arch, you know how this hurts. You and your wife, you know how that hurts, right? Backlund escapes, however, with a kick to the head. Now, Valentine applies tremendous pressure. This is the figure four leg lock he tries to put on, and he gets it. That's always a submission hold. It's the figure four leg lock, but watch carefully. Valentine with the move. Backlund throws him over. Count him out. 1, 2, 3, and Bob Backlund remains the heavyweight champ of wrestling. Something that caused a lot of controversy, a lot of phone calls. I said that Bob Backlund does not deserve to be the heavyweight wrestling champion of the world. Right. Well, now don't give me more trouble, Vance. I'm enough trouble. Okay. I mean what I said, folks. I mean, if you are the champion, and he is one of the nicest people in wrestling, but the champ should not run from anyone, should he? Mm-hmm. He ran all night Saturday night. Mm-hmm. In fact, he spent the whole night outside the ring. Let's go back to the Cap Center. Show you what happened. This is against George the Animal Steel. All right, as we enter the ring, behind me, I didn't know at the time, was George the Animal Steel, who started cursing. And I said, wait a minute, I am not Jim Vance. I'm one of the good guys. Cool it. Let's be cool, George. Wait a minute, I wasn't even in the ring. What's he doing to me? Anyway, the Animal goes to work. Now, you look at that face. Would you not run from that man, folks? Of course you would. Bob Backlund spent the better part of the night outside of the ring trying to figure out how to get in. Now, 20,000 people came to see Bob Backlund. Where was he? This is the only time the champ did anything. It was outside of the ring where only about 50 people could see it. What they saw was Steele put Backlund's head into the ring post. I gotta admit, that did smart. Well, he went down. Suddenly, the Animal, in a state of shock, was declared the winner. He said, are you kidding? I beat Backlund? Well, then at the end, as you can see, Backlund came back in. Oh, did he do great things. However, Backlund now throws the ref off. Hey, you're the good guy champ. How can you do that? Now I say, wait, cool, Bob. Cool, Bob.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Backlund is obviously very upset. You can understand why. But let him know you still love him anyway. Bob Backlund. Hey, cool it. Anyway, Bob Backlund, hardly what you would expect of the heavyweight champ of the world, right? I'm George Michael, and that's Tuesday in Sports.
I don't understand now why you said that. Because he threatened to slug you.
That's right,
That's what it
man.
was.
That's right.
He threatened to slug you, he'd be all right, huh? Thank you, George.
Backlund. You may recall I said that he did not behave well as a champion. Right. In actuality, Backlund is a very nice guy, especially now that he has apologized. That's right, apologized for scaring the daylights out of me. To recall what happened, let's go back to the Cap Center. It was August the 15th. Bob Backlund, I just announced, had lost his match. He was ready to do me in. Today, a formal apology.
You know, I think that I owe the fans of Washington an apology for the way I acted in the Capitol Center after that match, but I was so darn upset at what happened, the count out and getting my head banged up against that ring post, and I was just kind of dizzy and I was mad, and George, to you especially, apologizing because you were in the ring and you had to tell all those people and you had to tell myself that I lost, and by golly, it was hard to take, but I really didn't mean, I was just mad at George Animal Steel, not you.
Oh, hey, Bob. Could I stay mad at the champ? Is that great? Vance is envious. You are.
Again, more great chemistry between him and Jim Vance. Jim Vance, are you kidding me? I did like the commentary on the leg extender. It's just interesting how they did their own angles here with Backlund and George Michael here. So really is a true fan. He's having a good time with it. And that energy you hear in his voice when he does these wrestling recaps is the same energy he does on any sport that he actually covers. So the next one we're going to cover off on is Andre the Giant. He has a brief moment where he has Andre the Giant in for an interview, and then he recaps the match between, I believe, who is it? I believe it's Rick McGraw and Andre the Giant going for the tag team titles. And Rick McGraw, for those of you that might know, died at age 30. Obviously had some issues, but had a fairly decent run and had a fairly decent tag team run with Andre for a short amount of time. But let's take a listen to this one with George Michael and Andre the Giant.
With 7'4", 486-pound Giant. Yes, Andre the Giant. As you know, he is the only undefeated wrestler in the world. We asked Andre, why is it you've never wrestled Bob Backlund for the heavyweight championship of the world? For his response, go into his hideaway with us. This is Andre the Giant.
I tell you, I like to wrestle Bob anytime you want, but not for the title. I don't want to be a champion. I think everybody get a chance to be a champion. I even get a chance to be a champion. But I'm the Giant. I'm the only one Giant. And nobody else got a chance to be the Giant, so I leave the chance to be the champion to the other guys.
There is only one Giant. It's Andre, not Gino.
Now for the conclusion of the Tag Team Championship, let's go to the square circle. You know this one. Andre the Giant is in the ring, or rather, poor Rick McGraw is. He goes down at the hands of Saito. Now Fuji is in with Andre. Andre with a karate chop. Andre with a giant suplex on Saito, which clearly puts him into a dazed state. Andre with the denture extractor. Watch this one. And boom, off to the dentist you go. Andre with the esponges crusher and the pin. The one. You look at him sitting on you. When he's sitting on you, man, you're pinned. That's it. Andre and McGraw, they win it all. I'm George Michael, and that's Wednesday in Sports Gym.
He's the only wrestler I've ever seen with cellulite. You ever noticed that? We'll be back in a minute.
So an interesting interview, short, sweet to Andre. I could take on Bob Backlund, but not for the title. I don't need a title. I'm the Giant, which pretty incredible stuff there from Andre. You know, he's his own man, doesn't need a title. Obviously, that changed in the future, and obviously he challenged for the tag team titles here with Fuji and Saito here with Rick McGraw. But just kind of funny to hear that interview, and then in retrospect, that's like his whole end game as his career when he turned heel was to go after Hogan and get a world championship because he never had one. So cool little sneak under the tent there that he didn't want to be a champion. So I thought that was pretty neat. So this last clip I'm going to play for you, at least from a recap standpoint, before we get into this like more mainstream stuff, is George Michael, Tiger Mask, the WWF Junior Heavyweight Champion. George falls in love with Tiger Mask and tries to bring people along with him on this one. And he is absolutely astonished at Tiger Mask. And this is Tiger Mask taking on Jose Estrada. Pretty famous match in most circles here for the original Tiger Mask. But listen to George Michael here on Tiger Mask.
Tiger Mask has departed for Japan. He will not wrestle in America again. Let's go to Madison Square Garden. This is the Tiger Mask on his farewell bout. On the crisscross with Jose Estrada. The arm lock. Tiger Mask with the chicken wing and a kick out. Tiger Mask with, watch this, the rolling escape. Then the arm ring toss flips Jose Estrada down. Tiger Mask is just the best. Now watch this with the elevator. Up he goes. Now the backwards arm throw. Tell me Tiger Mask ain't cool. Estrada with a midsection shot, but Tiger Mask with a springing cat slap. Don't mess with me, sucker. Tiger Mask now with this reverse ring toss. Boom! Off he goes. The back flip. Here comes the flying reverse ching lock. Now the flying drop kick. Come on with all of it. Tiger Mask does it all. The flip, kick him out of the ring. Out he goes, huh? Here comes the amazing finish. Tiger Mask off of the ropes with a cartwheel. Watch this. It will be the reverse body bomb and pin. Boom! Estrada says, yo, man, you are not natural. Boom! Count them. 1, 2, 3. Tiger Mask. I'm sorry to say he will not be coming to Washington. He will not be coming to the Cap Center. You might address your letters to Ask Arch as to why this man left. I'm George Michael, and that's Wednesday in Sports.
You know,
he's gone.
I got to tell you something.
He's the best.
He could convert me.
Oh, he's the best.
He's bad.
He is the best,
He
man.
is truly bad. I'm sorry to hear. Can't we do something about that? Final weather forecast coming up. Bob Ryan has that.
Jim Vance was great there at the end with Tiger Mask could be the one to convert him over. Amazing stuff there. And George Michael's excitement over Tiger Mask was great. And then the whole people in the background, the crew clapping and cheering and watching Tiger Mask ahead of its time. And so I just think for someone who's a non-believer, when you think about the luchadors and what they do, and Jim Vance's reaction to Tiger Mask, in that his buddy there is pretty great. So those are the kind of recaps you used to get with George Michael almost every Wednesday on the Sports Machine, etc. But let's talk a little bit of mainstream. So, wrestling became mainstream, and then there were certain figures that popped, and I think one of them would be Lou Albano, which we'll talk in a minute. But from a Sports Machine standpoint, a couple of things you might not know about the 1990s and how the show's cultural footprint grew. It inspired the films like 8 Seconds. It inspired the movie The Rookie. Michael actually appeared in 8 Seconds. He was also in Silence of the Lambs, and he was also in Tin Cup. The show itself is actually referenced in There's Something About Mary. So from a mainstream standpoint, he had really hit the ground running. He stayed on local news, stayed on the Sports Machine, but he had actually transcended over to pop culture here and there, just the mainstream. So he brought up Lou Albano, and Lou Albano went mainstream, and George Michael was able to get him on the local set of Channel 4 locally. And so we're going to listen to this. What's great about this first interview is this is also the day that the Redskins, and if anybody knows the Hogs of the Redskins like I do, and I know it's funny for many of you that know me for me to talk about the Redskins and the Hogs, but I was a big football fan back when I was younger. The Redskins on this day of this interview had just signed John Riggins to a long-term contract. So you hear them come out of that. Then they go right into Lou Albano. And then after that, you'll hear the whole thing about Lou Albano having his own song, Captain Lou, because in his first interview, that's who he's with. The guy who sings the song. But this is great, this whole Captain Lou segment, and then Captain Lou song. Really great stuff here from George Michael. So take a listen to this.
Wrestling is, to say the least, an interesting sport filled with interesting and unusual people. However, the adjective unusual is an understatement when it refers to Captain Lou Albano, often considered the greatest wrestling manager. Albano's slogan, win at any cost. For a look at Captain Lou Albano, let's go to the square circle.
Introducing first to my right, and here is the manager, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Louis Albano. Some sentiments that wrap you tight. Captain Lou. But when he's on the scene, everything's alright. Captain Lou Albano. With a man of 1,000 faces, I know we keep going places. Hey! I'm gonna stick with the guy named Captain Lou Albano.
I've been here for many a day, brother, and I'm here to stay. I'm one of a kind. I'm often imitated but never duplicated. back in the cerebellum and the medulla of my brain, I've got an IQ of 903,714. I am a brilliant genius, a strategist, the maker of champions. Brother Captain Lou Albano.
Captain Lou Albano is so famous now that the rock group NRBQ has recorded a song in his honor. The captain, being so emotionally touched, has taken to the airwaves to support the group's new album.
You recognize this lovely melody? Well, I don't either. And furthermore, I don't care. The only thing I care about is NRBQ. Round the records. NRBQ, Tiddlywinks, baby. My kind of music. I love it. I live with it. I sleep with it. I eat it. It's mine. My kind of music. My kind of music. Tiddlywinks. 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 Round the records.
The things that this man has gone through, in my opinion, and I have great respect for Captain Lou Albano, but in my opinion, I believe he has lost some brain cells.
The man has not forgotten how to wrestle, just like a fine wine or a rare violin. He gets better as time goes on.
I've already gone. Don't where I'm going. I'm gone already. Don't ask me where I'm going.
With a man of thousand faces, I know where we're going places. Hey, let's all stick with the guy in line. Captain Lou Albano.
They're talking about me. Captain Lou Albano. Make our champions, baby. 12 tag team champions. I tape him. I mold him. Look, it's Christmas. It's pandemonium. It's psychedelic.
You know who the president of his fan club is? Jim Vance.
Okay, George Michael has big news and a big guest. Let's start with the big news. George?
Okay, first of all, the big news. Henry, here it is. You all been waiting and hoping for this. The Redskins announced late this evening that John Riggins has signed a multi-year contract with the Redskins. No details were released. Jack Kent Cooke said the contract will cover the rest of John Riggins' playing days in football. John Riggins' long-term contract, no details, but he's here to stay. The only man I know who makes more money than John Riggins and Jack Kent Cooke combined is sitting on my left tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you the man known simply as the Captain Lou Albano. Louis, it's so nice to see you. It's a real pleasure.
Well, it's such a pleasure, George, to be here. You brought up John Riggins' name. I've got to put the man over. The man is, without a doubt, the finest football player in the world today.
If you were managing him,
if I were managing him, the man would be unbelievable. He's often imitated but never duplicated. The man was with the Jets, and I followed him, and now he's with... Shut up, I'm talking. And now he's with the Redskins. All right, Georgie, go ahead.
Terry Adams, NRBQ.
Terry Adams.
What am I doing here, right? Terry, the NRBQ, you all came up with the song we've been talking about called Captain Lou Albano. How did it happen to be?
Well, you know, the captain's been helping us so much as a manager. We thought we'd help promote his career as a vocalist.
Oh, I see.
Because a lot of people think of him only as a wrestler, and there's a lot more talent in there.
A lot more talent. Well, you all, I'll tell you what, rather than keep you in suspense, let's do a little bit of the song. This is Captain Lou Albano, as done by NRBQ with a little help from the captain, of course. So much for Captain Lou Albano.
What do you mean so much for Captain Lou Albano?
Don't ever say so much for Captain Lou Albano because, brother, I've been here so long and I'll be here for many a day, so it's not so much.
There's so much.
Captain Lou, there is so much of me. I'm so sweet, I'm so good, and I'm so fine, and I can get down and boogie.
Jim Vance, see you on a Saturday night, man, I'll tell you, it would be some combination. You know what I like best? Is the way you sell NRBQ records. Real quick, I want to take you back to the recording studios. This is the way Lou sells a product. Take a look here, folks.
You recognize this lovely melody? Well, I don't either. And furthermore, I don't care. The only thing I care about is NRBQ.
It's what you call gentle persuasion. Captain Lou Albano with Terry Adams and NRBQ. You know, Lou, I've heard rumors to the effect that you're what you call a psychiatrist nightmare, huh?
Well, George, let me tell you this. As far as psychiatrists, I've been to a few myself on occasion. But let me tell you, I've been connected with Terry Adams and NRBQ because in these men I realized the great talent and the great ability of the Terry Adams and the NRBQs, and there are very few in the world today to possess the knowledge and the talent of music that these men do. So to associate myself with them is an honor and a pleasure. But as far as talking about professional wrestling, you're also talking about
I was going to ask you about wrestling.
They are the finest athletes in the world today, pound for pound. The captain's been here for many a year, and I basically am now a manager, but yet I know the talent, the ability, the speed, the technique that is involved in professional wrestling. The world's
Jim Vance says it's not real.
Well, if you listen to Jim Vance, you see, Jim Vance couldn't make it as a professional wrestler. Therefore, Jim Vance had something to holler and yell about. But when you talk about Ernie Ladd, a former professional football player, 7-time All-Pro, you talk about King Kong Mosca, Canadian football player, you talk about Bob Backlund, the world's heavyweight champion, one of the finest athletes pound for pound in the world today. You talk about super giants, superstars, men that have the ability, the speed, the power, Andre the Giant. You talk about it all, baby. You talk about Don Morocco. W-R-A-P, rap.
That's not the name of the
I know that, but I'm going to say it anyway.
But you are in great physical condition. We just stand up real quick. Lee and Henry, look at this physical specimen here,
You see,
folks.
I'm merely a manager, yet 317 pounds of power, poetry, and motion,
no,
brother.
we stop there.
Now, wait a minute. Get it right here. Look at them 24-inch arms. Got it all together. I'm often imitated, but never duplicated.
The most misunderstood man in
I'm
wrestling
so fine.
today.
Here I am, and I'm here today, baby. Captain Lou Albano.
Good night.
Wow.
Hey, thanks, George.
Lee and Henry, it's all yours.
Thank you.
A man of large talent. Thank you very much, Lou Albano. Moving on.
What are we going to do next?
How about...
You can't make this stuff up. Like, to find these clips online for me is pure nostalgia, and I'm hoping a lot of you are enjoying what you're hearing too. This is stuff that a lot of you probably never heard, that I got to like discover and see every Wednesday here locally in Georgia's Abrasive. That Captain Lou segment is amazing. From John Riggins being signed, for him spouting off all the football players that are wrestlers now, and again, the chemistry with Jim Vance and bringing Jim Vance into everything, really from a childhood standpoint, when you think about news today and the way it is and commentary and everything, and back then these two, if you like, it's like they're the lethal weapon of newscasters. So really, really good stuff here. So the other thing is, so we talked a lot about the WWF. What we haven't talked about is the NWA. So in 1987, the Crockett Cup came to Baltimore, and George Michael is there. And what we're going to play now for you for the next several minutes, and please listen to all this, is George Michael backstage interviews. And some of this isn't even cut. Some of this is just live and in the moment of what happens, and is legit just like in the moment. And you hear Ric Flair, you hear the Midnight Express, you hear the Road Warriors, you hear Mike Rotunda and talking about why he left the WWF and came back here. And then they also plug an event for July 2nd at the Capitol Center for their first show at the Capitol Center. And that is, I believe, day 2 of the 1987 Great American Bash. So George Michael is populating that right away. And if you want to think about some of the matches that took place at the Capitol Center, I'll give you 2 examples. We did an episode of Territorial where we looked at Dick Murdoch. We covered Dick Murdoch versus Steve Dr. Death Williams from the show on July 2nd from DC. And then on one of the last Place to Be Nations, doing the towns, I actually covered the Rock and Roll Express versus Midnight Express from that July 2nd show with Justin and Scott. So to hear them plug that at the Crockett Cup, and then to talk about the Crockett Cup and hearing all these in-the-moment interviews that, and not even uncut, like, it's just great to hear this. So take a listen to these NWA wrestlers as they talk to George Michael about the Crockett Cup and the upcoming July 2nd show from the Cap Center for the Great American Bash.
The tight shot. You once told me that you were extremely proud of the fact that you were the highest paid, most well-known wrestler in the world. Rick, everyone knows that wrestling is a big business today. Are you still at the top?
Yes, I'd say even more so now. From the wrestling aspect, I'll still put my W2 on the table against anybody. I'm sure that the National Wrestling Alliance and Jim Crockett Promotions pay the World Heavyweight Champion the best fee
can be made by any wrestler. I'm talking strictly for wrestling.
July the 2nd.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say the notoriety in our sport, for me as well as every other established star, has just gotten bigger with the cable systems and the publicity now all around the world that we are, and I include a lot of other wrestlers, we are the most recognized sports celebrities in the world.
July the 2nd. You come to Washington, D.C. It will be really the first time you'll be in the main building in the Cap Center.
Cap Center.
Obviously, you have to come in there. People are going to be saying, this is where Flair's going to lose his title.
Well, people say that a lot about major sporting events that Ric Flair's involved in. The Cap Center, we've been planning on coming there for a long time. We're looking forward to our date there. It's one of the most popular wrestling arenas anywhere in the world, and regardless of who I wrestle, Ric Flair will be there 120%, and just as he has done in the past, George Michael, he will show the crowd why firsthand he is the greatest wrestler alive today.
It's a shame he doesn't give me a closing line. It's a shame he doesn't understand television. Damn it. Jim, you got to teach him television. Oh, that doesn't matter at all. I got to go this side, and it's just him, just a talking head. Mike, Ricky Steamboat talking about leaving I know you don't like the question, but I got it. All right. What happens if you decide to leave the WWF to go to the NWA?
Well, first of all, my contract came to an end, a 2-year contract that I signed with the WWF. But also, I felt that it was time for me to go after the NWA because I feel, to go to the NWA, excuse me, I feel that the NWA has out and out the best and purest form of wrestling, and that's what I'm all about. I think having an amateur background at Syracuse University, I came up through the amateur ranks, and going after a wrestler that I feel like the quality of Ric Flair, a pure out-and-out wrestling machine, I want a shot at that title, and that's what I'm doing in the NWA.
Mike, that was the next thing I was going to ask you. Your former tag team partner is getting a shot at Ric Flair. Is your day going to come?
Well, I sure hope so. Right now, I'm holding the Florida heavyweight title, and in the past, it's been a stepping stone toward a shot at Ric Flair. You have champions like Dory Funk Jr., Terry Funk, Dusty Rhodes, and they've all been Florida heavyweight champions, and Jack Briscoe. They've gone on to be world heavyweight champions, NWA. So that's what I'm here. I have to defend that belt each and every time I go out after it. And, you know, you have to pay the price to have a shot at Ric Flair because of the quality wrestler he is, and hopefully I'll get my chance and take that title someday.
There are wrestlers coming into this tag team tournament who have worldwide reputation. I would imagine that while you have the individual goal of the heavyweight championship, that this has got to be a little extra special.
It is a little extra special because you're talking about $1 million prize to the winner. And anytime you're talking about that kind of money, you're talking about some awesome individuals and going head-to-head, and that's exactly what's going to happen here right now. Tim Horner and myself are going into the tournament unseeded, but I've been in that position a few times before, and sometimes you can take some people by surprise, and hopefully we'll walk away with that $1 million.
Yeah. Bob? Okay. Introduce me.
Big Bubba Rogers, my personal bodyguard.
What do you need a bodyguard for?
Oh, you never know.
Let's go.
Having a living.
What? Don't say that. Come on, this is network.
We're not on the air, though, are we?
No, but
Okay,
guys know it's coming. Okay, you ready?
Yes, sir.
In 15 seconds or less, tell me why you have the best tag team in America.
I have the best tag team in America because they're twin sons of different mothers, synchronized motion. They are the greatest tag team that's ever stepped in the wrestling ring, the greatest tag team that ever will step in the wrestling ring, just because they are indeed the best.
Well, then they got to win $1 million here.
They're going to win $1 million. It's coming up. Just lead us to the ring, get us the opponents, and we're going to win $1 million. That's it.
Lou, you don't need to do any more than that. Play off of that right into them. Okay. Would it be fair of me to say that you just walking in here like this is something that people said wasn't going to happen?
It would be a very positive statement. About 6 months ago, I had a very important doctor looking over at me as I was laying on a bed flat on my back, telling me that I was going to be a quadriplegic for the rest of my life. And yeah, I would say right now I've probably proven all the medical geniuses that they were wrong.
You've had a lot of great bouts in the ring. I can think of a few. You know, of course, you met all the names, Flair and whatnot. What has been running through your mind through all these months to get you where you walk in here tonight?
Well, I look at life as a series of challenges. As I was a young boy, I wanted to be a professional wrestler, and I went through the amateur ranks and built myself up, and that was a great challenge to finally become a professional, much less reach the heights that I did in professional wrestling, being a #1 contender for the world's heavyweight title. But as this happened to me, rather than looking at it as some disastrous thing and saying, woe is me, why did this happen to me, it kind of struck me as a challenge that I'd had thrown my way, because immediately as I saw the impact that my injury had on the wrestling world and people that weren't even involved in professional wrestling, I realized that there was people out there looking up to me and the things that I've accomplished and done, and were paying attention to this very crucial time in my life. And I said, if I can beat this thing, beat these odds, people out there are going to see me in a whole new light, and maybe they're going to see their own lives and their own troubles in a different light, and maybe I can be an inspiration to people in a whole different realm now than I've ever been before while I was in all those bouts in the ring.
All right. Give me one bite. You ready? How big in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore market, how big is the business of wrestling today?
It's phenomenal, George. Just in Baltimore alone, notwithstanding Washington, we're here once a month, and our competitors have been here once a month for years, and we're doing capacity business. In Washington, as you know, we've done big business at the Armory. The Capitol Center has also done big business, and we're going to be in the Capitol Center July 2nd. The Baltimore-Washington area right now is hopping for wrestling, as are many parts of the country, and we're thrilled about it.
Boom. Thank you for coming out. Paul, I'm going to need you to step up, and don't worry about getting in front of me, okay? There are tag teams, and then there are the Road Warriors. Paul, this is more than a tag team.
We're looking, George, at the greatest team of all time, the greatest team of our time. Right now, we stand at the epitome. We stand on top of the pile, and all the other wrestlers, all the other teams are just members of the rank and file. You're looking at two men who lift enormous poundages every day. Two men that every time they go into the ring, they're the most feared team in professional wrestling today. The Animal, the Hawk, the epitome of what wrestling is today.
And if you were behind the Animal and the Hawk, you would not mind standing behind and instead of front of. Paul, I have another question for you. It appears to me that it has become a point in time where the Road Warriors have gone beyond wrestling. This is now a major business with them.
Well, of course, wrestling is big business. Wrestling's the biggest business in the world. The biggest sporting event ever held was in wrestling.
But the Warriors, bigger than anything.
I was getting to that.
I'm sorry.
The Legion of Doom stands alone. The Road Warriors are the greatest sports attraction in wrestling today. No team, no individual. Wrestling is the Road Warriors. We are number one.
We're easy to remember. We're the team that keeps doctors in business. If anybody loves us, it's doctors, because we're always sending them business.
Now everybody's saying, here is the most dynamic duo ever in tag team wrestling. Let's go to the square circle where these guys were in action Saturday night. The Road Warriors are the Animal and the Hawk. When they enter the ring, they waste no time no matter who they are going against. This is Hawk on the right, who misses a flying wedge. His opponent says, well, I got him now. Nobody gets the Road Warriors. Hawk says, get out of here, sucker. Let's get on to the next guy. Meanwhile, the Animal with a power drive body slam. I mean, he powered him into the mat. Now, this is the best part. The Hawk will come flying off the top rope while the Animal holds him up, flips him over with a flying forearm. Then the slam. You don't get up when the Hawk puts you down. 1, 2, 3. The Hawk, the Animal, the Road Warriors, July 2nd, Cap Center. I tell you.
Quite a round of interviews there with the NWA wrestlers, and a really, really great segment. And hearing like true, authentic, real, hearing Ric Flair, hearing Mike Rotundo. And then if you notice there, I added a quick Road Warriors intro to everybody there for George Michael on one of his recaps, talking about the Road Warriors. So really, really, really good stuff here. So kind of give you on the back end of this kind of a little bit sad. So let's talk about the rest of Michael career here. So in 2005, he was seriously injured in a horseback riding accident at his farm. He owned a farm here in Montgomery County, Maryland. He broke his ribs, injured his wrist, and despite the severity, he returned to the air 1 month later. 2006, he was inducted into the Cheyenne Frontier Days Hall of Fame for his contributions to rodeo and Western sports coverage. That same year, one of his colleagues, Lindsay Cesarek, I don't know if that's the right name, became co-host of The Sports Machine as Michaels began planning his retirement amid network-wide costs. On November 16, 2006, Michael announced his retirement and confirms that his Sports Machine will also end its run. He stated that he would not renew his contract if it came at the expense of his staff. On March 25th, 2007, the final episode of The Sports Machine aired after 27 years. And Michael closed with this. Thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We hope to see you somewhere down the road of life. As he walked off the camera, he adds, one last one out, turn out the lights. So in 2007 and 2008, Michael stepped away from his daily anchoring, but continued hosting weekend sports panel shows like Full Court Press and Redskins Report, along with interviews from Redskins Park. And despite the strong ratings, continued budget cuts at WRC TV and these programs as well. Michael publicly states he'd return for panel work. He would just went and do a nightly sportscast. And then sadly, on December 24th, 2009, George Michael died at age 70 from B-cell chronic lymphatic leukemia 2 years after he'd been diagnosed. So an incredible run by George Michael, a man who meant a lot to me growing up, introduced me to sports, got me into wrestling, brought energy and passion to everything he did. And during some hard times for me as a kid, really brought a lot of happiness. I was really into sports back then, and the way he covered sports was really simplistic for anybody. If you didn't like sports, George Michael can make you into it, just with his energy and the way he covered it and just how quick he went around it. Just really good stuff. So I want to end this pod. And again, all these audio clips I know have added up and are long, but they've been fantastic. I want to end this pod with his send-off, his last day at NBC4. The emotion that's in it, the emotion that comes from the people that work with him, and then kind of end it, the episode with George Michael, last-ditch effort to get people into pro wrestling a little bit with some song, and then that'll end the pod. Before we go, would also like to add everything here on the Backbone. Listen, you basically get a new episode of a pod almost every single day here with the exception of Sundays. Now, this will probably drop on a Sunday. I don't know now that I brought it back. But Hands of Z and the Shit Take, which I do with my friend Keith here. You can hear a little bit about that in the shift plugs. Honestly, the shift plugs are a little bit past due. We probably need to update some new ones on there because some of those aren't on the feed anymore. But I think that's part of the gimmick of the Backbone is to kind of go against the curve and go against the grain and just do what we want to do. But Hands of Z and the Shit Take, which I love doing with Keith. Shit Take, we're up to 40 episodes at this point. Hands of Z with the 0.5 episodes, we're hovering around that 35, 40 mark. But two really great podcasts, original. One looking at Larry Zbysko and Ron Garvin. Then we do 0.5 episodes that look at different wrestlers and matches. Those are a lot of fun. And then we got the Shit Take that Keith and I do. And both pods are usually an hour or less. So really quick listens, fun listens. Really enjoy doing that with Keith. Highway to the Impact Zone with Logan, Matt, and Jake, where they take a look at TNA wrestling. Really fun pod there. YouTube Roulette, the most unhinged podcast that's probably out there. Also hosted by Logan. Logan also has a movie pod with Keith where they cover movies Logan's never seen before. You got Are You Smarter Than Russo's WCW, also with Logan, hosted by Scott Shiflett, where they look at Vince Russo's run. New Gen on a Mission, looking at the New Gen era of wrestling. Champ of the Backbones, Clash of the Backbones with Keith. Looking at the Clash of the Champions has been a really good pod. Very strong for us. So I'm sure I'm missing something. Oh, and how could I forget Logan, the Cross Up, every Monday. Recaps wrestling, current day wrestling, the week prior wrestling, Logan's solo pod, where he covers everything wrestling that happened. So he watches it so you don't have to. So love this group, love this crew, love this podcast feed. A lot of original podcasts. Lucha Underground as well, which will be coming to an end soon, as Logan and the team there have covered. I was on it, but time got in the way. But Lucha Underground basically covered the entire run of Lucha Underground. They're on season 4 now, and will each reach its end game very, very soon. So give that one a listen. So all said, give the Backbone Wrestling feed a listen. Give the North-South crew a listen on North-South Connection, where we spun out of, and in addition to Place to Be Nation as well. So thanks for listening, everybody. Kind of listen to this next segment on George Michael on his finale, leaving the industry as a sportscaster at the local news, and then play out on a final run that George Michael did to get people to listen or love pro wrestling. So until then, we'll see you on episode 41 of Territorial. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Can I say something personal? Come on. If I can, go ahead. You first.
You know, the first time I went on the air here in April of 1980, there were 54 calls. 52 of them were complaints. And as usual, Jim Vance took off. I'm not lying. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Vance was not here. As usual, he was off. 52 out of 56 people called the complaint. I spoke to one of the guys tonight, a doctor who actually said something nice my first night here. Well, one of the complaints was that I talk too fast. And I'll probably be guilty of that again tonight, because if I don't say this quickly, I probably won't be able to say it at all. Because for 27 years, I've always tried to do my very best. But whatever I may have given you can't come close to what you have given me. You see, through your loyal viewership and your support, you have given me a home. And for that, I will always be very grateful. Now, I'll be back on Full Court Press. I'll do Redskins Report and Mondays with the coach. But this still feels like a painful goodbye, and a big one, because it is a goodbye to working with Jim Vance, who over the past 27 years has become my brother, my most trusted friend. It's a goodbye to Doreen, my true dream girl working partner. And no, I don't really have the hots for her. Okay, maybe I do. And to hell, I might as well tell the truth tonight. And to Bob Ryan, who started here with me in 1980 and predicted that there would be no snowstorm when Gordon Barnes said there would be 9 inches of snow. Ryan's still here. Gordon Barnes has gone to Florida. And to my dedicated staff, a group of winners who did their very best to make me look good every day, even when I screwed up. And to every one of you behind the scenes, like you, Mo Javins, who for 27 years have been my stage manager. Barry on the cameras, the control room. To each of you, you were a part of what was once the greatest team in television. I thank you for the greatest 27 years of my life. And now, for the final time in my career, I say I'm George Michael, and that's Thursday in Sports. And I did that from the bottom of my heart.
You're doing good now. Don't interrupt me, because I'm going to try to do this without embarrassing myself. First time I met you, the very first time I got in your face.
You said you're the white SOB going to save our station.
And you got back in my face and you said, yeah, that's me.
I said, you need saving.
Yeah, that's right. And that began an exquisite love affair, and I say without fear of contradiction that your likes will never come this way again.
It's been for me an honor and an education and a wild ride, and we are going to miss you around here every day, George. But I know we're going to still see you a lot.
And it's part of broadcasting history. The things that George has done and created will never be created again.
Here's the deal. I know where you live, sucker. And your wife told me long time ago that I'm always welcome at your house. So you ain't done with me. You thought after 27 years you could get away. I know where you live. You know what I mean? We are out of here.
I am your family.
We are not.
I am your you can choose your friends, but you cannot choose your family. I'm your family.
We are determined we are not going to embarrass ourselves. Have a good night.
Good night.
I'll tell you what, we're tabulating some letters over the last 4 weeks from everywhere from Dayton to Springfield, Massachusetts to Chicago, Illinois. Everyone's saying, hey, George, how come we never see anything on a sports machine about our favorite professional wrestlers? Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, in a final effort to convert you to professional wrestling, let us go to the square circle of entertainment.
This is the biggest professional sport in the world today, and I'm the #1 dude at what I do, and I love being on top of the mountain.
Not going out there to kiss babies. I'm not going out there to shake hands and sign autographs. I'm going out there to kick some butt. You know, some guys like to scream and holler and carry on and this and that. I don't do that. I'm just 100% all natural, and I like it like that.
I want your spirit to fly. Entertain you, and we'll have a real good time. Yes, sir.
And now you know why they call him Superfly Jimmy Snuka.